Hello, my Aloha tribe, and welcome to the Aloha Perspective, where you get a little bit of something and a whole lot of everything. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. We are on day number 8 of body positivity. And I know we're getting close to the end of the first part of body positivity. Then we're going to do some deep diving. But today's topic is a little, I don't want to say superficial because I think it's very important, but it doesn't go that deep. However, you're probably wondering why I keep starting with the soul truth cards. And the truth of the soul truth cards is it makes you really stop and ponder. Why do you feel this way about your body? Is it because of society and the images they put out there that we're supposed to live by? Is it because somebody said something to you? Is it because you've just always hated your body? Is it because of trauma? There are so many different reasons why we might not have good body positivity. Now remember, for anybody who's new and joining us, I say us because it's alive when I first do this, and then later I do upload it. But for anyone that's joining this for the first time, it's not about size. Body positivity doesn't care what size you are. It cares how, it can get into your brain and just upend your life. So, that being said, I do want to do some deep dive because I've decided that I think at some point in this, we're going to do the shadow work. We're going to do shadow work. And when I say the shadow work, I don't mean like the Facebook. I mean, we're going to do the shadow work that we need to do to get deep, to really question ourselves as to why we don't like our bodies. I know my reasons. And now that I've healed those reasons, I'm in a place now where I have to kind of pick up my own pieces and start, as Henry James said in one of his books, it's time to start living the life you've imagined. So this will probably not be a very long show because some of, while we go through the first 10, from F Your Body Hate, there's not a lot to really talk about. So it's not going to be like this thing where I can just, riff forever. But, oh, here's a good one to start with. What expectations do I have that are impossible to meet? What expectations do I have that are impossible to meet? So, the expectations we have are mostly delusional and impossible to meet. We then experience disappointment with ourselves or with a relationship when they are not met. It's time to dissolve your expectations and replace them with gratitude. Today's soul action. Be grateful. Gratitude is everything, but be grateful. You are being summoned to more peace. Peace is home for our soul and is accompanied by trust. It comes when you surrender and focus only on what you can control. If you expect nothing and are grateful for everything, you will experience extreme fulfillment. So a lot of times we do, right? We set these expectations, these standards, these things for us. And this really, really applies to body positivity. If you don't feel like you look like somebody in a magazine or somebody on the screen or somebody this, that, or the other, or maybe your best friend or your sibling or whoever, you might try dieting. You might try overdoing everything. Now, I think if it's a healthy thing and it keeps you in shape, then that's great. I don't really think there's certain things you can overdo. But if you, especially if you have a dinged up mental health, sometimes, this can work against you. And this is just my experience. This is just my perspective. But, I'm not going to focus on the other things people do, but let's talk about dieting. Dieting is the worst thing in the world. Period. My therapist from 6 years ago absolutely forbid me to diet anymore. Because what happens is, I'm an emotional eater. Well, I'm trying to be a recovering emotional eater. But I'm an emotional eater. And when you're not losing weight as quickly as you want to, or you're not getting the results, because when we're trying to lose weight, right, we think that like 100 pounds are just going to fall off of us like that. If that does that, you're probably going to die. So don't do that. All right, let it gradually come off. I mean, for some of us who are a little overweight, it might come off fast at first because your body knows where it needs to be, but your body also might plateau because it needs a rest. But that's not good enough for some people. They want to, like, what happened? What happened? Did my body quit on me? No, your body is taking a break. It's taking a rest because it's trying to keep you healthy at the same time. But then people will start to diet worse. And then all of a sudden, when it's not working the way you want it to work, you might go back into bad habits. You might fall into bad patterns. So use gratitude. Okay. I literally wrote this to myself yesterday. All right, I'm going to share it, even though it's in my very personal journal. But I was looking at it this morning. Usually I turn the page, and I know you're like, your journal? I thought this was your journal. It was. But I realized I needed another floof session, so I went back to just the regular old notebooks. I told you guys, these are great for just jotting down your thoughts and everything. But I just put, I surrender to all that I hope for, to allow it all to transpire for the greatest and highest good, and in the divine right way. And so it is. But at the very bottom it says, let go, Shelley Marie, let go. I try to control so much in my life because, there was a time in my life when I felt I had to. There was a time in my life when I had to hide secrets and when I had to keep things because of the things that happened to me when I was little. And, you try so hard not to crack. You try so hard not to break. And I finally broke, and then my parents were notified, and then I had to tell them. So it broke me even more, because it's like there's a whole different set of situations that go along with that. But unfortunately, even after I healed, I was still doing this control thing. And so now I'm trying to figure out how to just go with the flow, which is basically what this card is. Yeah, sure. It's not a bad thing to have a goal, but there's certain reasons and certain things we should shoot for as a goal. There are certain things that'll be perfect in life, like maybe the perfect house, or maybe the perfect car, or maybe the perfect this, that, or the other. But these are things that are perfect to you. They may not be to someone else. So perfection is perception. And I think, but there's not a perfect person out there. We're all perfectly imperfect, and that's the best thing about being a human. We're going to make mistakes, we're going to learn from them, and then we're going to be able to share them with other people to help them when they make that mistake. Or to help them not make that mistake. But they're still going to make mistakes along the way. And then they're going to learn from that, and they're going to pass it on. So we're all just in this big learning curve of life. So, gratitude. I can share something really quick. Last week was Comic-Con. And I was so excited. It's my favorite it's my total nerdvana every year for the last 15 years. Well, 13, because 2 years we had COVID and we weren't allowed to go. It was all online. But 3 days before, I magically got shingles. I'm thinking, don't old people get that? They're all like, okay, Shelley Marie, you're not young. No, I'm not young. But then I found out that kids can get it. It's the amount of level of stress that your body's on. Like, my friend was telling me people he knew in their 30s got them. So I was devastated. And not because I couldn't go to Comic-Con, because I could. But here's the thing. I can't give anyone shingles, but I can certainly give people chickenpox. And if there's autoimmune people around me, that's even worse. It could make them sick. So, I had to make the hard decision. I'm going to go Thursday. I'm going to check in as an attendee. I'm going to do some of the things that I wanted to do on Thursday. And then I thought, well, I'll reevaluate, because I thought maybe Sunday will be a little, better. So I missed 2 days already, and I ended up not going back because I put so much pressure on my body on Thursday instead of resting, like my doctor told me to, that I was in so much pain on Friday. Because these little MFers hurt like a bitch. But luckily I caught it early enough. I was able to get on some medicine that my doctor put me on. And I think maybe they're finally going away. But I had to pivot. I had to figure, hey, this is the one thing I love to do every year. I can wallow about it. Or I can say, hey, look, you know what? Maybe next year. Or, there's always next year. And when it comes to Comic-Con, it's usually not guaranteed. But I'm in a gratitude that next year will be this phenomenal one, because I had to learn, I started to really, really grasp the understanding of patience. I'm so impatient. I am. I thought, if I'm on meds, I'll just poof it away. But we can't. And that's the same thing with body positivity. You can't it's not going to just click overnight. For some people, if it does, then maybe you're not as deep as a lot of other people. And that doesn't mean you don't have it. And that doesn't make you any less of a, person battling body positivity. What it means is that stop yourself there and turn around before you go too deep. But for a lot of people who are so just buried under all this body negativity, it's going to take time to undo all those things. It's going to take time to recondition yourselves, because when you're that deep, you tend to not believe when people give you compliments. You tend to not believe when people do this, that, or the other. I mean, the other day when we were at the movies, older sibling and I decided, since it was Comic-Con weekend, we were going to go see Barbie, okay? Because Oppenheimer doesn't feel very Comic-Con-y. So we're going to go see that next. But we kept running into this man, okay? Like, you know, when we were getting in, you know, to the door, or actually, I let him cross the street when we were parking. Then we ran into him at the door. Then I ran into him again as he was going in the door. And I just joked with him. I'm like, wow, I said, we keep running into each other. And he looks at me, he's all, that's not a bad thing. And I was like, ooh, talk about an ego boost. Because I struggle with my body positivity. I struggle with what I think people might see on the outside. But I don't know what he saw. But he flirted, and I caught it. This time I caught it. You know, I'm so dense when it comes to flirting. But it was an ego boost. And I sat down and I told sibling, I'm a whole. I think I'm getting it back. I think I've got this. Or it's like, you know, I still got it. And I don't even know where that came from. But then I thought, maybe it's the body positivity. Maybe it's me finally seeing who I am in the mirror and not just what I think everybody else sees. And then we watched the movie. And I don't want to give anything away yet, so we'll talk about it later, because it was a great message in that movie. But one thing I want to share that they talked about, how when we talk about, you know, our body image, when we talk about losing weight and all that stuff, we always have to put, well, it's because I want to get healthy. Why do we have to put stipulations on it? I do that all the time. And that really hit home for me. And I started crying because I figure I'm always making an excuse. Well, I have to lose weight because I need to be healthy. Well, for me, I do, because I have a heart to take care of. But it hit home because it feels like sometimes we use it as an excuse. Well, it's time for me to lose weight because I need to get healthy. And, you know, maybe you hear someone say something, oh, well, you know, you really should. It's like, oh, no, I'm already working on it, you know, because I know I need to get healthy. But are we? The reason dieting doesn't work for most people is because it's not just about the type of food you eat. It's about what's going on up here. You know, and I was very fortunate one time to have a very deep conversation with Sissy before she passed. And she just looked, and I told her, I said, well, I just need to lose weight so, you know, a man will notice me. And she looked at me and she's all, it's not going to matter. Doesn't matter how skinny you are. She's all, until you learn how to love yourself, no one's going to see you. And that was like an about face from what she had said to me earlier on. Because she said some pretty mean things. You know, and I think it was because she worried about my health, or she worried about me being overweight. But over time, you know, she changed her perception of that. And I remember telling her what she initially said to me, which doesn't need to be repeated here, but she was just like, did I really say that? I'm like, yeah. And she just hugged me. She's like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. You know, and she never really seemed to struggle with her weight. I mean, she was like this big, but it has nothing to do with that, because she didn't love herself either. She struggled with self-love herself. She really did. And so it doesn't matter what body size you are. If you struggle, you struggle. So even if you are called a skinny mini, you know, that can be hurtful to people, because, you know, they may not see what you see. They may see something totally different. They may have a scar that they just zero in on, and they become that entire scar. You know, they become that entire skin, you know, irregularity on them. Because you don't know. So don't judge them. You know, it can be scary. It can be hard. And body positivity is no joke. It is literally no joke. You know, we always sit there and say, oh, these people coming up with all their crap and blah, 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 and all this, that, and the other. No, it's legit. It's legit. My mother had body positivity issues. You know, I mean, she had severe body negative issues. And she hid it very well. Because I figured it out long after she passed away. It's like, wow. You know, some of the things I say to myself, I remember my mom saying this, or saying it under her breath. It's like, oh, I didn't know you heard that. I did. You know, and I have to figure out how to work through, because she controlled everything I ate growing up because of my heart, that and never taught me because she didn't know how. And that's not a bad thing on her part because she struggled with her body. She struggled with body positivity. And I'm not saying that, she made me this way, because she absolutely did not. But she also didn't teach me how to do these things. I think my mom is one of these people like, well, I'm doing it, so you should be picking up on it. But the thing is when you consistently deny somebody something, the minute they're free, the minute they have a job to do all these things, they're going to be gone. They're going to be all over like, no, I'm out. I'm going to just eat whatever I want. I'm going to do whatever I want. And you can't stop me. And then one day something might happen, right? I mean, like I've been watching a lot of, I love history. So I've been watching a lot of history stuff on YouTube. And they were talking about Henry VIII, right? Because a lot of people are like, you see all these, TV shows where he's thin and it's like, oh, Henry VIII was no, actually he was a pretty svelte person for quite a long time, but then he got an injury, and they said coupled with a lot of different health things, because he was an eater, but he was an eater when he was young. However, he was a little more active, but then I can't remember what injury he got, but it slowed him down. And that's what happens. I started gaining weight because I got a knee injury, and it was hard to do a lot of different things. And I can use that as an excuse, or I can pivot and find new ways to exercise, new ways to do things. But we get buried in our thoughts. And then sometimes those thoughts become so overwhelming that we just decide, forget it. What's the point? What does it matter? And then we start saying things like, well, if you can't handle me at my worst, you don't deserve me at my best, which is true. But we're saying it for the wrong reasons. We're saying it as an excuse because we don't know. If you enjoy looking the way you look, however it is you look, your beautiful self, whether you are considered plus size or you are considered healthy or whatever people look at you and label you as, if you're able to just give them the middle finger and say, screw you, I'm happy the way I am. I love my body. I love the way I am. Then just, you're in the perfect place. And you're not going to let anybody, just bring you down. Because you love your body. And that's the whole point of this series, is for us to just be happy where we are in this moment. It's kind of like mindful body positivity. Mindfulness is being in the moment. Mindfulness is about sitting in that moment and saying, okay, I'm grateful for this moment. Even if you were sitting in the middle of chaos, I'm grateful for this moment because this too shall pass. These things aren't going to last forever. This is not going to keep happening. It will eventually get quiet again. And mindful body positivity to me, which just literally hit my mind, but I'm sure exists somewhere, is about just being grateful and happy to be in the bodies that we're in right now. If you have an autoimmune, if you have a chronic illness, if you have chronic pain, you're still here. And there's still a chance for you to go into remission, or there's still a chance for you to find different ways to handle these things. And I'm not minimizing what some of these go through. Older sibling has CRPS, and that shit's no joke. I mean, it is literally no joke. These shingles, they burn at the nerve endings, but I can't imagine what sibling goes through, because that's a full body. I mean, her body sometimes is just like one big shingle because of the CRPS. Because that's what it does. It affects the nerve endings, and when they flare up, it causes a burning sensation, like you are literally putting your hand in fire. And I have sometimes, when she's been in a flare, it's like I'll just put my hand close to her, because just touching them hurts them. I'll put my hand close to her, and it's like, oh crap, you're like a heater. You literally heat up a room. So I think a big part of body positivity is not judging one another. How about that? All right, let's get to the next one. Oh, no, that's a different kind of card. So, all right, let's just get to our topic. I guess I managed to talk a little longer than I thought I would. So, day number 8. Like I said, some of these are, they're very just kind of cut and dry. Like, what you can do, what you should do for the first 10 of these things from F Your Body Hate. Remember, that's the hashtag FEFF Body Hate. And if you're going to do some of these little exercises, not little, but if you're going to do some of these exercises, please hashtag them, because I got this from the internet and I got it from them, and they said, hey, hashtag us when you do these things. So put them on the map, because these are some great ones. And, they covered some of the stuff that we think about, but they're also covering the things that we need to do for ourselves. But one of the reasons I really like this card is because I really think it kind of hits home on the body positivity as well. These expectations that we have, these expectations that we may fail to meet. You're not failing it. You're just trying so hard to live by society's rules that you're forgetting who you are. And I think that's what some of us need to do. We need to come back and say, hey, am I doing this for me, or am I doing this for somebody else? My dad was a smoker for 30 years. Okay, 30 years. And I have nothing against smokers. You do whatever you want. But my dad wanted to quit, because for the times he did quit, he realized, but my dad was, I don't want to say he was like a chain smoker, because basically the cigarette sat in his hand more than he smoked it. But he smoked those long ones, so it was still like smoking a regular sized cigarette. But, and I admit, I have partaken from time to time. It's a nice little buzz, especially when you're drinking. I know, look at me, bad habits. And I don't mean bad habits like that, but it's like, but my friends used to drive my friends nuts. It's like, how do you just start and stop? And it's like, well, I don't know. I mean, for about 5 years, I would smoke on New Year's Eve because everyone's trying, or at New Year's Day, because everyone's trying to quit. And I'm just like, yeah, it was kind of an asshole move on my part, but, there were very few things I had control of in my life, but being able to start and stop that was one of them. So yeah, I have nothing against people who smoke, but what I'm saying here is that my father tried several times to quit, and he loved the way he felt when he did. He had the energy, he had the stamina, he had this, that, and the other. And every time he failed. And then he would be kind of hard on himself, and then he'd smoke a little more at the start, and then he'd stop. And then one day he went to a class for it. And, it was hard for him at first, because he always felt like he needed to have something in his hand, right? But he found out when checking in with all his classmates 6 weeks after the class ended that only 2 of them, himself and another person, had not started smoking again. And I think that drove him. Not because, I think in his mind maybe, and I don't know because I never really asked him. I think in his mind it was like, oh, look at me. I've quit and other people have started smoking again, so I'm going to keep going and see how long I can go. But I think what it was is that it gave him something to be proud of, because, he had lasted this long. And yeah, they were on patches, and stuff too. I mean, they were on the step down patches, and that was what they were trying to do. I don't even know if it was 6 weeks after, but whatever their last patch was, some of them had just stopped. They just gone back to smoking. And, that was 1994, so it's been 29 years since he quit. And, like I said, to each their own. Okay, I don't judge. Everybody do your own thing, whatever vices you got. We all have a vice. I'm an emotional leader. I got nowhere and no room to talk about other people. But I wanted to bring that up because we always think we can't do things. He set an expectation for himself, but this time, instead of trying to force himself into something that he wasn't ready to do, he was fine. When he did this, he did it for himself. He didn't do it for my mom. He didn't do it for me like he was always trying to do before because of my heart. And it's just like, I always told him, I said, you do you. You got to take care of who you are. I never cared. I didn't. I know a lot of people do, but I didn't. If it made him happy, it made him happy. But like I said, when he finally quit, it was for him. And that's what we have to decide with body positivity. Is it for you? Or is it for someone else? I went through a program 9 years ago. The summer my mom was dying, she told me, oh, you got to do this program. I need you to be healthy. I need you to be this, that, and the other. I was in the middle of grieving my mother while she was still alive because she was dying right in front of me. Over the course of 4 months, she withered away. And I was in so many different places, and I ruined myself with that. So not only did I lose weight, but I gained that weight back plus the exact amount of weight I lost. So I got it and doubled it. It took me a couple years, but it was my grief and I didn't get a thing out of it because they did 1 hour of emotional eating. Which to me, to be honest with you, when you listen to the stories going around that room, that should have been the main focus, because everybody had an emotional story every single week. Oh yeah, this happened and I wanted to eat so bad. And it's like, you're not focusing on what needs to be focused on. You need to focus on what's up here. And that is the best segue to what day number 8 of body positivity is. Treat your body to some pampering and TLC. Treat your body to some pampering and TLC. If you are doing great, maybe you're not an emotional eater, maybe you just got body positivity issues, maybe something happened and you're just kind of like, maybe you have that trauma or whatever. And, you're like, I think I'm going to have a burger today. Burger and some fries, because that just sounds amazing. Okay. When I emotionally eat, I'm like a freaking 5-year-old. All right. Chicken tenders and fries. I know. I'm like a 5-year-old. I mean, and now they have Canes, which is, I think, from the South, but it's like, ooh, chicken tenders and fries, and it's okay because adults are in line buying it. So I can't help it. I am a big child. But treat your body to some pampering and TLC. That's not just getting a massage. That's not just getting a mani-pedi. That's not just getting, and men can do mani-pedis too. Okay. My cousin took my dad just over a year or so ago, maybe 2 years ago, to get a pedicure. Oh my God, he loves it. He will literally call my cousin, hey, when are we going again? So, and he didn't want to go because he hates his feet. I hate my feet, but he doesn't like his feet, and he's just like, I want people touching my feet, but it's so relaxing. But that's not the only pampering and TLC you can do. You can go to the beach, you can go to your favorite place, you can go see a movie. Like I said, go take yourself out for a meal, take yourself out to dinner, go out with some friends, enjoy some coffee. Don't shame yourself. Okay? I mean, if you feel like you were going out just to emotionally eat, maybe journal first. Okay? But I will tell you this. If you deny yourself, it's a very good chance that you were going to binge on it. Now, I'm not giving you permission to go emotionally eat. What I'm saying is be very mindful. If you do, bring your journal, bring your book. I always carry a purse big enough for some kind of journal to fit into, just in case. Because I never know where I'm going to end up and if I'm going to end up there alone. And you know me, guys. I mean, I have pen cases sitting all over my house. Okay, because I love pens and journals. So, that being said, when you treat your body to some pampering and TLC, like I said, it's a lot more than just what a lot of people call the fluff stuff, which is, oh my God, it's the best. Massages, oh, yeah. Mani-pedis, yeah. Getting your hair done, yeah. Maybe you just want to take a few inches off the end. But boy, get the shampoo. Don't just say, yeah, spritz my hair and then cut it. Splurge a little. Get the shampoo, because boy, it feels good when someone's running their hair or their fingers through your hair. It's like a nice little mental massage. But also give yourself a mental massage. Body positivity isn't just about losing weight. It's absolutely not even that. I mean, if you want to get healthy, yeah. But the only way to get healthy is to fix again what's up here. You don't have to have a dinged up mental health to have You do not have to have a dinged up mental health to have a negative body image. Like I said, trauma can cause that. Trauma can be, for me, trauma was a big part of that. But, and it could be any kind of trauma. It could be maybe something horrible. Well, they're all horrible. If it's trauma, it's trauma. But the trauma is extensive. It could be abuse. It could be emotional abuse. I mean, there's all kinds of abuses. There's emotional abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse, childhood sexual abuse. There's abuses coming out of my eyeballs because there's so many, which is sad, right? But it doesn't, somebody doesn't always have to lay a hand on you for you to hurt you. Words hurt. And sometimes we will go through society and we will say things about people thinking they don't hear us. And they might. They do. So we got to watch what we say too about other people. We got to watch what we say to people. Let me tell you, I've had people who care about me comment on my weight. And one day I finally just sat down and I said, do you not think I see what you see? Do you not think I know what you know? And I tried to say it as nicely as I could. But I said, I get it. and I get your concern, and I know you're worried. But it's like, I know, and I'm doing what I can. And maybe it's not in the time of everybody else's time frame or timeline, but I know that when I do this, I need to make sure I'm in the right place. Because I need to make sure that I'm taking care of myself, and I need to make sure that when I do get to a point where, my heart is in a much better, less precarious place, that it sticks. And body positivity is not about losing weight. Absolutely 100% no. Body negativity is about losing weight. Body positivity is about loving who we are in this moment when we look in the mirror. It's about being any size, shape, whatever, any size, shape, color, height, whatever, and looking at yourself in the mirror and going, I love this person in the mirror. I see them. I am worth it. They are worth it. They are enough because I am enough. And when I say they, I'm talking about you looking at you in the mirror. I'm talking about you seeing who a lot of the people around you see. This amazing, beautiful, light-driven person that's in the mirror. There are some times when I get compliments and I just look in the mirror and think, what are they seeing that I'm not seeing? The comment from the gentleman in the theater. Actually, we started talking because he was from Ghana and he noticed the turtle on my back. And I told him, I said, yeah, believe it or not, I got a little bit in me from my great-great-grandfather. I have 4.1%. So of several different, I think it's sub-Saharan, but several different, but my great-great-great, my great-great-grandfather was African American. So I had a little bit of that in them. But what was neat is that he pointed it out. And I was all like, the turtle. And I said, oh yeah, it's because, I'm Hawaiian and it's my spiritual turtle. And he says, it's a very important symbol in Ghana. I'm like, really? And he's all, yeah. And I said, wow. And I said, that's pretty cool. I said, thanks for sharing. He's all, the spirituality will find you anywhere, and I did look it up, and they're healing guides and protectors. So the turtle's got my back. But anyways, or the Honu in Hawaii, it's Honu, Honu. So again, treating your body to some pampering and TLC isn't always about, I don't want to call it the superficial stuff because it's not really superficial, right? It's just fun stuff, but some people probably call it superficial. But it's not just the mani-pedis, it's not just the massages, it's doing nice things for yourself. Maybe you just want to relax in the shade. Maybe you want to just sit on a floaty in the pool. Okay, I have a dream house in mind, and I've already picked out my floaty. It's this big dragon or a unicorn, the kind that you can just sit in. We had some of these when we went to Havasu a couple years ago with my cousins, and one of them bought a big floaty, and it's just like, yeah, it's like, who says inner tubes are for kids anymore? I don't think so. So I can go on about this all day, guys. I think, like I said, one of the reasons I'm doing the Soul Truth cards is because sometimes the cards, I think they make very good segues into what some of these topics are. Tomorrow will be a good one. Ooh, tomorrow will be a really good one. But like I said, one of my favorite people from history when it comes to mental health is Carl Jung. And the reason I say that is because, he was I'm not sure if he was a student of Freud or just a friend of Freud or a mentee-mentor relationship, but at some point they had a disagreement. And I think they made up before Freud died, but they kind of split ways in their thinking. But Carl Jung was very into shadow work. And I just discovered him about 2 years ago, maybe 2.5 years ago. I can't remember, sometime in the last couple of years. And when I did my first round of shadow work. Now, I'm going to tell you, shadow work, if you do it right, it can, it can, be careful, all right? All I'm saying is be careful, because if you think it's going to bring up emotions you didn't even realize you had, it's going to bring out a lot of the repressed memories that you've probably forgotten. Seek professional help. Okay, if you are somebody who's been through some severe trauma and you're trying to heal it and you want to do the shadow work it's not for the faint of heart, but I believe that it comes to you at the exact moment it is meant to come to you. I truly believe that. I truly believe that shadow work happens when you are ready for it. So if you think you might need someone, even if you don't want to seek professional help, find a very trusted friend. I have very, very few people. I can count them all on my fingers. I love all my people. I do. But there are some that I know I can just say whatever I need to say to them, and there's not going to be judgment. There's just going to be like, how can I help? How can I help? Find that person, okay? Because that person because a lot of my people like to fix things. I'm a fixer, and I'm trying so hard not to do that anymore. But just find that person, okay? And if you can't find that person or you don't trust that person, just remember, therapy can be done online in the privacy of your own home. All right. So speaking of, I have therapy this week. So, and yes, I'm excited about it. So anyways, that's that. I still haven't figured out how to end these shows. It's like, yeah, I'm done. Bye. See ya. I'm out. But anyways, I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful day. Please think about these things. I know I kind of rambled and went over and over, but I think I hit on some good key points that, body negativity is probably about weight. Body positivity is about, it's mindful. It's about loving who you are, who you see in the mirror in that moment. It's being grateful for the body that you're in. I know, and we'll all find a reason not to be grateful, but if you are still walking and breathing, or you are still alive and breathing, be grateful, because maybe there's a purpose. Maybe there's a reason. 100% maybe there's a reason. All right. So again, I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful day. Please, please, please take care of yourselves. I'll see you back here tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Pacific time, Facebook Live. All lives are public. Anybody can watch. It's under Shelly Marie Lucas, or you can catch the replays on my Facebook page, the Aloha Perspective, and you can also catch the replay on YouTube on my channel, the Aloha Perspective, where you can click and subscribe and like and do all those wonderful things. And if you follow me on Twitter, I also share those there. And for those of you on the go that don't have time to sit here for like 30 plus minutes sometimes, I'm doing this series also on TikTok under the Aloha Perspective. So it's like 10 minutes or less. All right. It's like the very condensed version of this. Okay. So again, I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful day. Please take care of yourselves. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you tomorrow. Have a great day.